idiots. And all of them are going to be drawing salaries, allowances, travel flights, this and that, just job for the boys. You know, somebody said that if they can restructure their media team within just 24 hours, that means they can restructure Nigeria if they want to restructure. I'm like, nah, they won't. Nigeria is already restructured. Nigeria has been restructured to turn by turn, Nigeria Limited. Okay, so if it comes to your turn, okay, go they do one Nigeria. Go they do the big one. When the Bokwari was there, it was the turn of the North, remember? Now it is the turn of the Yorubas, Yoruba Lokon. And this Yoruba doesn't mean that the Yorubas, so, because it's similar to when the Bokwari was there. And some of them probably were like, Fulani Lokon, Hausa Lokon, Fulani Lokon, Kanuri Lokon. But today, the northern Nigeria is poorer. The people of northern Nigeria, they are now poorer than they were 9 years ago. Similarly, Yoruba Lokon. Today, Yorubas are more poorer. Within a year of Tinubu, they are more poorer than they were a year and a half ago. You know, say Tinubu, Bokwari started the entire depreciation, the degradation. Abi? Now, this last 18 months of Tinubu, I've seen the Yorubas, not just Yorubas, I'm using Yoruba now too, because they're saying that Yoruba Lokon. Just similarly when they said that Fulani Lokon, the North Lokon. So when it was the turn of the North, the northern politicians, the northern elites, they became stupendously rich. They emptied the Nigeria Central Bank. They emptied the Nigeria NNPC. Now it is the turn of the Yoruba, Abi. Why they emptied the entire place? Their people were left in IDP camps. Their people were left in shallow graves everywhere. Terrorism took over the entire place. More and more people fell into poverty. Agriculture, food production became almost extinct. Despite the fact that they had the power for 8 years, it never served their people. So now it is Yoruba Lokon. So if you're a Yoruba man or you were a Yoruba man that thought this was going to be your turn, no, today you have more Yorubas. I mean, you have more Yoruba politicians, elites, who are making a kill, who are making so much money, and more Yoruba businesses, Yoruba people are falling into poverty. True story. Are you with me? So if you are still so dumb to believe in this, what do you call it? Now our mandate here, now our person, it is our time. You are just probably foolish than what some of us envisage. Yorubas are poorer now than they were a year and a half ago, 18 months ago. Abi mo paro, abi na lie. Oh yeah, tell me say na lie. Who are those who are now screaming Ebing power? Ebing power, oh, Ebing power, oh. During the time of Bokwari, not a single day did Yorubas come out and scream Ebing power, oh. But within just 6 months of Tinubu and the wrecking of your economy, 18 months after that, who are those who are now screaming? Are they not supposed to be joyous and happy and like, thank God, oh, our local? Why? Because there is no president or any president in the history of Nigeria that has ever lifted their people out of poverty. Not a single one, except for Obasanjo, the Ashebruku Shere, the old man. It was during the Obasanjo time that primary school teachers, secondary school teachers, they were buying Tokumbo cars, Opel Astra, Opel this. They were buying cars. Bokwari came. Your life don't turn upside down. Abi? Today, teachers, or what you call it, the teachers, they can barely feed. It was during the Obasanjo time. Their school teachers, civil servants were actually like buying cars, you know, finishing and building houses. True story. Today, they are more like beggars. Abeti Bagbe. So it was during Obasanjo time that Nigerians abroad, they were willing and ready, willingly returning back to Nigeria. I bet you that we don't forget. And the moment these criminals came, change. Now, so the second journey of Japa started, and many more had to run away from the contraption. Now, lie. There is no precedent, so in the history of that contraption, that has lifted their own people and say, okay, because I'm a Yoruba man, or because I'm an Igbo man, I mean, well, no Igbos, because they've never had a chance. Because I'm a Kanuri man, or because I'm an Hausa man, or because I'm a Plateau man, or something. None of them has ever lifted their people out of poverty. None. And today, if you are paying attention, you get to see that rather than our Lokon, Yoruba Lokon, to feel the good impacts, if there is any, of Tinubu, all of them are sinking in the poverty, the poverty spreading policies of Tinubu. Or see those ones who are actually cashing out. Those he's giving his appointment to, those he's giving his contract to, and then, who are benefiting because they are Yorubas, okay? And guess what? The rest of you are still waiting for whatever you think Tinubu was going to give to you. Hunger everywhere, starvation everywhere, poverty everywhere, depression everywhere. Young people are having high blood pressure. I saw a video of a little boy. 6 years. He no fit pass 6 years old. And he was like, and I was like, what kind of life situation would the little boy be in that is so lost in thought? A little boy. I was like, Ege Bansa. So when Kolu went to, Kolu is in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, where they are talking about the economic of the world, as well as the hunger, famine that is going to hit the world. Kolu was there. He delivered a note. And that note is basically on the hunger that is facing Nigeria. I have more. Just listen. Kolu.
Luis Lula da Silva, the President of the Federative Republic of Brazil. Other world leaders here present, Your Excellencies, Head of State and Government. It is an honor to address this gathering of the G20 Leaders Summit taking place in this beautiful and historic city of Rio. Let me, at the onset, express gratitude to the government of Brazil for extending the invitation to us, and to me in particular, as Nigerian, and to highlight the problem of poverty and hunger. The session devoted to fighting poverty and hunger. I am from Nigeria. It's better to give you the true picture of what's going on. In Africa, we have terrorism challenges, insecurity challenges that are preventing farmers to even go to their farm. We have problem in Sudan, displacing people. We have problem of climate change, flooding, destroying crops. And we have problem of protectionism. We have problems. It is very important to make it clear and louder here. We have problem of out-of-school children. We have problem of funding free education or giving our children 1 meal a day in a classroom to even make them pay attention to schooling. Africa has that problem. And the problem is compounded by some other conflicts around the world in Ukraine and others, the war on Gaza Strip. That's poverty-driven problems. What do I do to help the small-scale industry? The cost of funding is expensive. What do I do to get power to industrialize my country? The cost of funding is extremely expensive. The developed world need to extend these promises that you have out here today. I must salute every one of you. But support the continent. The neglect of Africa is a danger to the rest of humanity. And we have to lift one another up. We have to build an inclusive economy that takes into account the population growth. In Nigeria, I have over 250 million souls. The fight against hunger and poverty is not a matter of choice, but a matter of priority for me. But where do I get those helps? I have a very vibrant youth population, 70% below the age of 30, in schools, set up funding for their education. It's a challenge. And even if I have the fund, how do I turn it around? Reform, yes, I must. And I've embarked upon that aggressively. But as I go through that reform, I must equally see that the other hand, the hunger and poverty is resisting to all of us here. Investment in education, investment in health, investment in food security, cheaper financing, the risk in various African countries, putting us on a better and more progressive arrangement to prioritize food security and the agricultural reforms are necessary. We need to take action now and quickly. I'm glad Brazil has brought the question of hunger and poverty to the forefront. Why wish you a very successful deliberation. We signed off for the contract, and I support all the efforts to eradicate hunger and poverty. I must state again that Africa is crying. Is Lula da Silva.
I know. Somebody said my ego is too early for this, please. I know. Well, I mean, this is just so you can see the emptiness in the demented, kleptomaniac Kolu. Is practically begging. Begging who? Is begging those present to possibly give him money. Funding is a challenge. We have the problem of terrorism. What do I do? We have a problem of out-of-school children. What do I do? We have the problem of unemployed youth and hunger in my country. Who do I turn to? So Africa, we, who is we? Funding is a challenge. Everywhere, just like a Bokwari, everywhere that one went, it went with his Bambi Alabo, begging for loan, money everywhere. And where they are given the money, they squander it. They looted the money. The same thing with Tinubu, everywhere he goes. To the point that he's just there 18 months old. People are already avoiding him. They say, it's like, Lula da Silva. And I'm just putting up a scenario now. Lula da Silva. What's that lady from Italy? Spain, that one from China, right? Let's say the three of them are talking. And then Kolu is coming. He's coming like, I say, let's pretend that we are not seeing him. Pretend. He's coming to beg. He's gonna begin to beg us for money now. Let's pretend that we don't see him. Okay, pretend. We just be like that. I said, jig spin. So, pretend that you're not seeing him. Lula. Yeah, Lula. I say, because as it's coming now, he's coming to beg for money. Meanwhile, when he gets the money, they will use the money to buy private jet for themselves, buy themselves new cars, build themselves, renovate mansions for themselves, or just go on vacation while their people continue. Because the world is so open now, with this, your devices and all of that. The world is open. Everybody knows what is going on everywhere. So if your president is at the World G20 summit, and they are talking about what everyone is doing to reduce poverty, and people are saying what they have done, but your own president is there. Who do I turn to? What should I do? I have 250 million. He even went there to go and drop the usual number problem that Nigeria is suffering from. We are 250 million people. No evidence. So there is no evidence that they even have 200 million people in that contraption. Everybody just have to make up the number and just play along with it. And there is this World Bank that always make up the number for them. The way we are looking at it, the population of this country is more than 200 million. Let's say 210 million. Say, yeah, we will work with that one. 210 million. Good. But there is no scientific evidence that you are 200 million or 250 million or anything. Just make up the number. So dishonest that they can't conduct a credible census, talk less of conducting a credible election in that contraption. The whole world is talking about what they have done or what they are doing, okay? To what? To cut down poverty, reduce hunger. Some of them are even talking about how to reduce hunger by year, so and so, to reduce world poverty by year, so and so. Sure you get, but the way is there talking about out of school children, youth unemployment, and he's talking about Ukraine. and Nigeria. What is the correlation? They usually do that too. They usually do that. They will tell you that the whole thing, the reason why people are suffering in Nigeria is because of climate change. Or the reason why people are suffering in Nigeria is because of the war in Ukraine. Say, how? Like, even if we have this global economy, right? Somehow, they like intertwined, okay? But it is not as what these rogues, these criminals in Nigeria want to make of it. Is it the war in Ukraine that gave you the, is it the war in Ukraine that made you to be forgiving terrorists who are murdering and killing people like every day? You are giving them amnesty called Operation Safe Corridor. Is it the war in Ukraine that stopped you from protecting farmers in Nigeria, protecting farms in Nigeria for them to actually really grow food? Is it the Ukrainian war? Is it the climate change that kicked the children out of school? They are finding ways to link all this. They said that it's because of climate change. That is why the people from the Sahel, they are moving to Nigeria, and the terrorists are moving because they are looking for, the Fulani terrorists are looking for water. So because there is a climate change, so they are looking for water. That is why they are causing havoc in Nigeria. And you are like, okay, what have you done to protect the Nigerians that they are killing? We have decided to create a ministry of Fulani terrorists in Nigeria called the Ministry of Cows. They call it livestock anyway. Ministry of Livestock. They even have a minister of livestock to stop the Fulani terrorists from killing Nigerians. So that was called there, talking about the solution to your problems. On the issue of this tax reform, which the Kwakwansop decided to politicize, Kwakwansop said Tinubu is trying to colonize them, colonize them in northern Nigeria by taking over their taxation. Here it says Zakayo Oyedeji Abina Ayodeji, the Tinubu's tax master, explaining their tax reform to the House of Representatives guys on record.
As an implementer, there is no way, and that's what I just want to emphasize. On derivation, I see there is mix-up between where people means derivation. We have in oil and gas to what we are doing now. If you look at oil and gas, what they use is that where do we produce? Because that is what we sell and we collect money on. So that is why it's limited to their state. VAT by any definition is a consumption tax. So if you will use derivation in VAT, what it means is that where is it consumed? Where do we make it for? Where the bank account takes place? Where is everything? So what the bill seeks to correct, which we all know, apology to Lagos State, is that the existing structure we have does not represent the intent of either the president or Nigeria. Today, I just read out the data for this month of October sharing. I just signed it on Friday. Lagos will take 42% of the VAT. Lagos. Rivers will take 16%. Oyo State will take 5.2%. FCT will take 11%. If you take that three states, go and check. That three states, they are taking more than 70%. Why? Because those are the places where end office of those companies are. And we know that the consumption, 70% of consumption are not happening in those three states. So in whatever way you look at it, there is no way every other state, apart from Lagos, Rivers, and FCT, every other state benefit. No, you know this formula, just correcting that principle. And that is the bill that is being presented. Because if you look at it, MTN contributed highest, But because MTN headquarters is in Lagos, all the addition to MTN is being approved to Lagos. So, with the wisdom, by God's grace, of these people's house, when this bill is passed, all states, including, because it's irrespective, I repeat it is irrespective of the kind of economic situation that is happening in many states in Nigeria. I will read it for you now.